Hello and welcome back to the woods, everybody. Today we are checking out Dead by Daylight, and today we are going to be ranking all of the MORIs of the killers. This is the execution that the killers have, and we're just going to be putting them in our tier list. So let's get started. We're just going to go right down the line, and our very first killer is good old Trapper here. So sadly, Trapper's kill is not very interesting. He just smacks people a couple of times with his machete. He doesn't even use his bear trap. I wish he would use that to latch it onto somebody, or they would get latched into it during the MORI, and then he could slash them up with a machete. This one's probably one of the weakest kills in the game. It was one of the first killers. Well, he was the very first killer to the game. So his MORI wasn't anything incredible. I really wish they would go back and redo this one, but I'm going to have to put Trapper into the D tier. He's going to be at the bottom for right now because I don't think his MORI's that great. Up next, we've got Wraith. So Wraith also kind of has the same problem as Trapper. His kill is just not that interesting. He just pulls them back and looks like he's spanking them with his axe, which, I mean, granted that would be a pretty painful death, but in terms of like the cool factor of it, I don't think Wraith has really one of the best kills. I think we can do better than that, so I would also put Wraith probably down into D tier with Trapper as well. Up next we got Billy, one of my favorite killers in the game. Billy also kind of has a basic kill, although I would say his is a lot better than Trapper or Wraith's. I don't think it's one of the best kills in the game, but I would probably put Billy up into like B tier. The chainsaw is pretty gnarly, getting stuck into people's backs. So yeah, I kind of wish you'd use the hammer first, smack him, and then maybe chainsaw him. But either way, Billy gets an extra point just for being Billy in general. Let's go to Nurse. Probably the strongest killer in Dead by Daylight, and has been for basically forever. Nurse's kill is also not really one of my favorites. It's not bad, it's actually pretty decent, and it kind of plays more into her lore. Although I do wish that she used her saw a little bit in the kill. Maybe initial slash. Her having weird telekinesis powers is a little bit odd. I don't know why that works. But Nurse is okay. I would probably put hers like C tier. It's an okay kill, nothing way crazy though. And then we got Huntress, and Huntress has a fairly brutal kill. Yeah, Huntress is rather brutal. I do rather like Huntress's, even though it is just her swinging the axe at somebody. The axe to the head is pretty gnarly, and if it was just that, it would be kind of lame, but I do like that she goes a little bit more crazy with the axe afterwards, hacks into him a few more times. So Huntress I'd probably also put high C tier, maybe not as high as Billy's kill, but still pretty decent kill overall. Then we've got Michael, the very first licensed killer that we had. I do rather like Michael's kill. It is kind of what you would expect from Michael Myers. It is kind of his stereotypical kill, although Michael does have some pretty cool knife kills, and the way that the survivor tries to fight back in this case is kind of cool. It's one of the few killers that actually does that. So I would probably put his a little bit higher. I'd put him up into B tier. He's still not wowing me like some of the kills get to, but I like his kill overall. Then we've got Hag, and Hag's is fairly brutal too. Yeah, Hag's is super gnarly. She's gonna be probably our highest killer right now. I would probably put Hag up into A tier. That's pretty gross. I like the sudden lunge at the very start of the kill. The extra like disembowelment there is pretty gross. Eating the organs is pretty gross, but it very much fits her. It also kind of fits the lore of her, so yeah, Hag's going to be our reigning killer right now at A tier. Just too bad to see you have to play Hag. So moving on to Doctor, who's also got a pretty cool kill, and kind of a gnarly one too. So Doctor's is pretty good. I really like that it goes with his electricity. The extra like little burnt at the end when you see their eyes kind of roll back and the smoke come off of them, I really enjoy too. Doctor's is actually pretty solid without actually showing too much. It doesn't have nearly as much gore as like Hag's, but I would probably also say that it's A tier. I think Doctor's is actually pretty solid too. And then we got our boy Bubba here. Bubba's is definitely the more thematic of the chainsaw kills, more so than Billy's. I would have to put him a tier higher than Billy. I would probably put Bubba up into A tier too. It's very similar to the very first kill that's in the very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, besides, I guess, him using the chainsaw in this case, where in the movie it was just the hammer, but still, it fits Bubba really well, and it's pretty good. Next up, we got Freddy. Freddy's kill is pretty quick, but it's kind of what you would expect from Freddy. It's not a bad kill. It's pretty good. Maybe it would be a little bit more effective if I hadn't seen all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, and I know he kills people a couple of times like this, so I wish it had a little bit more. I wish it had a little bit more of like the dream aspect to it that Freddy brings. A little bit more of the nightmare. So Freddy's, I would probably also say a C tier. It's an okay kill, but nothing way crazy. Then we got the pig, or Amanda's kill. Amanda's kill is pretty straightforward. It's not bad or anything. I kind of wish she had more of a trap oriented in her kill, whether that be the reverse bear trap or one of the other jigsaw traps. I mean, we have 10 Saw movies right now, so there's plenty of different traps that she could have picked for this. I do kind of like the survivor actually trying to block the knife blade, though. That is pretty cool, but the rest of the kill is pretty straightforward, so I'd also give Amanda's kill like a C tier. It's okay. And then we got the clown. Clown's a bit disturbing. Yeah, Clown's is just pretty gross. It's a pretty gross kill. I mean, the actual kill itself is nothing spectacular. He just stomps in somebody's head twice, which is kind of whatever. Cutting off the finger at the end and licking it is very gross, but it's very fitting for Clown. It fits his lore really well, so I would say Clown probably gets a B tier for me. He's I don't know. I'm uncomfortable by it. Up next, we got Spirit. So Spirit's is pretty good. It's not one of my favorite kills, but I have seen it plenty of times thanks to one of her perks that I used to run all the time with Rancor. I would say Spirit is also probably B tier. She's okay. Swinging around with the katana is nice. Up next, we got Legion, another killer that you can kind of fight back against. The fact that the Survivor fights back against Legion is really cool and what really sets this kill apart from quite a few other Moris. Legion's is actually probably one of the better kills in my opinion because of all the different parts that are moving in this. So I would say Legion is like a solid A tier. I think it's actually really good. Maybe not my favorite of the kills, but still very solid. Then we got Plague, which I actually don't remember what Plague's kill is. Yeah, Plague's kill is very gross, as you would kind of expect from her. I guess it's fitting kind of for her. Her Mori, I would say, is like B tier. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't really like it, but it is pretty gross, so points for that. Then we've got Ghostface, or sorry, the Ghostface. Not Ghostface is S tier just simply because you can photobomb him, which is the funniest thing to do in the game, to see your friends just run behind you as you're dying to him from the Mori, and then them celebrating afterwards all together. It's more the fact that the community goes around Ghostface's kill, rather than Ghostface's kill itself. Ghostface's kill is still very solid, but I think since that so often happens when you do have a Ghostface in your game, or when you're playing Ghostface it happens, then, like, I think that adds a little bit more to it. So I gotta put him up into S tier. Then we've got Demogorgon. We got ourselves a demo boy. And our good puppy here has a pretty brutal kill. Honestly, I like this one quite a bit. I like how animalistic it is. So this one I would say is probably a solid A tier as well. Like, good job, Demogorgon. You got a pretty good kill. Next up, we got Oni, the very angry boy. Oni's is also probably S tier, in my opinion. It's very brutal. I love that he uses his katana and his kanabo, and just, it fits him very well as just a very angry boy. He definitely needs to smash somebody into the ground, so yeah, Oni gets S tier. Up next, we got Deathslinger, who's also probably got one of my favorite Moris. Deathslinger is still very, very brutal in his kill. This is another one of my absolute favorite kills in Dead by Daylight, so I would put Deathslinger probably up into S tier too. Fairly simple kill thanks to his spear gun that he's got, but man, is it gnarly. So yeah, I gotta put it up there. Then we've got Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head's is pretty great too. This is ruthless and very straightforward, and it fits Pyramid Head really, really well. Technically, Pyramid Head actually has two different Moris, since he's got this one, which is the one we're going to be basing it off of, and he's got his much more fast-paced one that he has on the final cage that he would have, where he just swings the sword down and kills somebody very quickly. Pyramid Head I would probably also put up into S tier. I just really like the look of this, and it fits Pyramid Head so well as the Executioner, where it's just quick and efficient. Then we've got Blight, the human pinball. Blight's is pretty gross too. The injection of somebody with those syringes seems pretty nasty, and then popping them too with his cane is pretty fitting for Blight, so I think I'd put Blight up into like A tier. I don't think he's as good as the last three kills that we had, but he's still pretty solid. Then we've got the twins, which there's actually two Moris here. One for Charlotte and for Victor. Charlotte's kill is a bit brutal, but it's kind of basic as well. So I would probably put hers into like B tier. It's a bit better than some of the C tier kills that we've seen just because of the amount of swings that she has there. But it's still nothing like way crazy. That might be a little bit generous. I think adding Victor is a little bit better, but not by that much in my opinion. I do prefer Victor and Charlotte's kill over just Charlotte's kill. So I'm going to put it a little bit higher up into B tier, but it's still going to be B tier overall. Then we got the Trickster. So Trickster's skill is actually pretty good overall. I don't see it too often because I don't really like playing Trickster that much, but his Mori is actually very solid, so I will give him like an A tier. Then we've got Nemesis. Nemesis's Mori is very straightforward, very efficient, and very fitting of Nemesis. I love that he just stomps you at the end and you don't even actually see the stomp impact. Nemesis is pretty solid. I wouldn't say it's anything way crazy though. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite kills, but I do enjoy it quite a bit, so I'd probably give Nemesis a good old B tier. Then we've got Cenobite, or Pinhead. So yeah, Pinhead's kill is pretty brutal. It's definitely one of the more gnarly kills that we have out of this. I would probably also put him up into S tier. This is very fitting of him. It's very fitting of the Hellraiser series. Up next, we have the Artist, who is probably one of my favorite killers to play. She's really fun and very strong. Artist's kill is pretty solid too. I really like this, especially the crow coming out of the stomach. That is pretty awesome. The more crows feasting on the person afterwards, pretty gnarly. So I would say Artist is a solid A tier. I think she's pretty good. Then we've got Sadako, the girl in the well. Sadako's kill, I don't really know. I don't think it's one of my favorite kills. It's okay. I do like the arm and the leg break. If it was just the stare at somebody, like how she can kill people normally, it wouldn't be as good. It would probably be on the D tier. But with the arm and the leg break, I'd probably bump it up to C tier. It's solid enough. Then we've got the turkey himself, Dredge. Dredge is rather disturbing too. The first part of this of just shanking somebody a bunch isn't really that crazy. The pulling them into the darkness is what is the more creepy part of Dredge. So I do like about half of this more, and I don't like so much the first half. So I would probably put this one like B tier. I think it's okay. I think it's got more good parts in it than it does have bad parts. Up next, we got Wesker, the Mastermind. Wesker's I would also probably put up at S tier. I really like Wesker. His Mori is pretty great. I love that the survivor hits him and then he always has infinite sunglasses to pick from afterwards. It fits Wesker very well. And speaking of another one of my favorites, we got Knight up next. Knight's is super brutal. It's really, really brutal. I really love Knight's though. I think it's one of the best Moris in the game. I really love the finishing at the end with the impalement with the sword and then just yanking it out of them. So yeah, Knight's gonna go all the way up into S tier too. He might not be one of the most fun killers to play as or play against, but he does have one of the coolest Moris in this game. Then we've got the Skull Merchant, which I don't even remember what her Mori is. Sadly, Skull Merchant's Mori is kind of lame. It's basically Freddy's Mori, executed worse, which is a little bit weird. Freddy's is okay. Skull Merchant's is worse than that, so Skull Merchant goes to D tier. Then we got Singularity. Singularity's is pretty gross, especially at the end with the face popping. Him talking also makes it that much more disturbing, like him saying that death is coming, possibly painless, meaning that there's a possibility, and a very good possibility based on the rest of the kill, that it's not going to be painless. So Singularity, probably a solid A tier as well. That's pretty gross. Then we got one of the creepier killers, the Unknown. I'm not sure how I feel about Unknowns. He's just a very creepy killer in general. He has very weird movements, especially in this kill. The tentacles are particularly odd, and the fact that they seem to eat people is strange. I'm gonna put him in A tier as well. Next up, we got the Xenomorph. So the Xenomorphs is pretty cool. It's kind of what you'd expect from the movies, where you have the tail stab, and then you also have the, the face impalement into the other face. Xenomorphs is pretty decent. I would probably say that this one's like maybe a B tier. Maybe it's just because I've seen the Alien movies so many times that this one doesn't have the same effect on me that it might have had if I wasn't aware of the Alien movies. Because we see that quite a lot throughout those movies, so yeah, probably B tier. I'm feeling that right now. Up next, we got Chucky. Chucky's is actually pretty good. I do like his. It fits him really well. I like the fact that he just chucks something at the back of your head. I think it's a hammer, and then just shanks you with everything else that he's got. His maniacal laughter and him just talking crap to you at the end kind of pays off pretty well for him, too. I would say Chucky's probably another like solid A tier in terms of the kill that he gives. It's pretty good and very fitting of him. Up next, we got Vecna, the Lich. Vecna's is pretty cool too. I really like just them pulling all of the flesh off of somebody. That sounds kind of gross. The kill itself is actually really solid. I enjoy this one quite a bit. This one I would probably also say is S tier. I love the little Skelly boys making another little Skelly boy, I guess. And then we have our final killer in the game, at least as of right now. The Houndmaster will be coming out sometime soon. She's on the PTB right now, but I won't be including her for this list. This will just be up to Dracula. And Dracula probably has like the most elegant kill out of any of the kills here. Dracula's I really enjoy too. It's very quick, it's very efficient, and it's very elegant. It's probably the most elegant of any of the kills that we've seen here. I do think he gets a lot of points just for that, and I would probably put him up into A tier. I think Dracula is pretty solid too. Luckily, the developers over at Behavior do the Moris quite well. Most of them are very good. Most of the early killers could kind of use an update, like Billy Trapper and Wraith could kind of use something more. If you haven't seen the Houndmaster's kill yet, it's not bad either, where the dog grabs them and then she just stomps on their head a bunch. So Houndmaster I'd probably say is like B tier. It's decent, but we've seen that kind of done better in some other kills. So yeah, if you were wondering about what my thoughts are on that, tell me your thoughts on the kills here. Which ones are your favorites in Dead by Daylight and which ones are your least favorites? I'd love to hear that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so very much for watching it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.